Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a topic that touches millions of lives globally: diabetes. We're going to completely separate the facts from the fear and uncover exactly how our bodies manage the energy we give them. If you've ever wondered what's really happening under the hood when people talk about blood sugar, well, you're in the exact right place. Here is a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll be hitting 1. The mechanics of blood sugar, 2. Type 1 versus type 2, 3. Spotting the warning signs, 4. The pillars of management, and finally 5. Myths, facts, and action. Okay, let's dive into section 1, the mechanics of blood sugar and how our body fuels itself. So what are we actually talking about here? At its core, diabetes is a condition that affects how your body turns food into energy, primarily when it comes to regulating blood sugar. I really want to emphasize this point. This is absolutely a condition about energy conversion. It's simply about how the fuel you consume gets delivered to the cells that desperately need it to keep you moving, thinking, and just living your day-to-day life.
All right, so here is how this whole process plays out. Step 1, the food you eat breaks down into a sugar called glucose. Step 2, that glucose enters your bloodstream. Now step 3 is where the magic happens. Insulin steps up to unlock your cells, which leads to step 4, your cells actually using that glucose for energy. Think of this like a lock and key. The glucose is just sitting there waiting outside your cell's door, but the door is locked tight. Insulin, which is a hormone made by your pancreas, that's the essential key that opens those cellular doors to let the energy inside. Without that key, the sugar just stays stuck in the hallway, circulating endlessly in your bloodstream.
Moving right along to section 2, type 1 versus type 2, understanding the differences. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it breaks down the breakdown, if that makes sense. With type 1 diabetes, which is an autoimmune condition, the body essentially just stops making those keys entirely. Your immune system mistakenly attacks the factory in the pancreas that makes the keys, so literally zero insulin is produced. Now, contrast that with type 2 diabetes. The keys might still be there, but the locks are completely jammed. This is what we call insulin resistance. The body just doesn't use insulin well anymore. It's a stark contrast, right? A total lack of keys on one side versus worn-out, stubborn locks on the other. But both ultimately end with that same result: glucose getting stuck in the bloodstream.
Which brings us to section 3, spotting the warning signs, symptoms, and risks.
So when all that glucose gets trapped in the blood, your body starts throwing up red flags. We're talking frequent urination, excessive thirst, extreme fatigue, blurry vision, and unexplained weight loss. And these aren't just random annoyances. They're a completely logical, physiological response. For instance, your kidneys are basically forced to work overtime to filter out all that extra sugar, which makes you have to pee all the time, which in turn makes you incredibly thirsty. And because your cells aren't getting the fuel they need, remember, those cellular doors are still locked, you feel that deep, extreme fatigue.
Now let's look at the major risk factors, especially for type 2. We're looking at family history, age, a lack of physical activity, poor diet, and being overweight. Now, I want to be super clear here. We aren't pointing fingers. Things like your family history and your age, those are literally out of our hands. Understanding these risks isn't about blame. It's just the very first step toward taking empowering preventative action in the areas where we do have control.
And that perfectly transitions us into section 4, the pillars of management, taking control of your health.
Building a sustainable management plan requires a truly holistic approach. Just look at this chart. It brilliantly illustrates how healthy eating, physical activity, quality sleep, and stress management all fit together. All 4 of these vital elements have to work together in harmony to balance your body's engine. You really can't just fixate on one slice and completely ignore the rest of the pie. So the crucial point here with healthy eating is that it's not just about what you eat, but how much you're eating at one time. Focusing on balanced plates and really managing those portion sizes helps space out your carbohydrates, balancing them with proteins and healthy fats. This is what keeps the bloodstream clear and prevents those massive rapid surges in glucose that completely overwhelm your system. Then we've got physical activity. Regular movement actually helps your cells use insulin better, which naturally lowers blood sugar. Remember that lock and key analogy we talked about? Well, when you exercise, you're essentially oiling the locks. Physical activity makes your muscle cells so much more sensitive to those insulin keys. It just makes the whole system way more efficient at pulling that glucose right out of the blood and into your muscles where it gets burned for energy. Okay, these final 2 pillars, sleep and stress management, are huge, but honestly, they get overlooked all the time. Poor sleep and high stress trigger hormones that can significantly spike your blood sugar levels. Managing your mind and making sure you get deep rest is just as important as your diet. When you are chronically stressed out or severely sleep deprived, your body pumps out cortisol and adrenaline. These stress hormones directly mess with your glucose regulation because they tell your liver to release even more sugar into the blood for a fight or flight response. Keeping your stress low keeps the whole engine running smooth. All right, let's wrap things up with Section 5, Myths, Facts, and Action, clearing confusion and next steps. There is a ton of misinformation out there, so let's vigorously clear the air right now. Myth number 1, eating too much sugar causes all diabetes. Fact, type 1 is strictly an autoimmune issue, so sugar has absolutely zero to do with causing it. And type 2 is driven by a complex mix of multiple risk factors, not just eating too many sweets. Here's another massive myth. People with diabetes can't eat carbs. No way. The fact is, carbs are entirely okay when they're managed with smart portion control and a balanced diet. We really have to move past these broad, absolute statements so we can understand the nuanced, very manageable reality of this condition. Now, before we officially close out, I need to stress this absolutely crucial reminder. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional for individual medical advice, especially before making any significant lifestyle changes. This explainer is here to empower you with knowledge, but if you're noticing any of those warning signs we went over, or if you just want to revamp your daily routine, a doctor should always be your trusted partner in that journey. They're the ones who can tailor all this info precisely to your unique body. So, I want to leave you with this one powerful question. What is one healthy habit that you can start today to support your body's engine? Seriously, think about it. Whether it's taking a brisk 10-minute walk after dinner, finally swapping out that daily sugary drink, or just committing to getting 1 extra hour of sleep tonight, the power is literally in your hands. Take this knowledge, turn it into positive action, and take care of yourselves out there. We'll see you next time.